In this video, I'm going to build an ecosystem aquarium for my platy fish. Recently, I've been building more and more ecosystem aquariums. This is one you can see here. I call it an ecosystem aquarium because it pretty much looks after itself. Most of them have a little internal filter, loads and loads of plants, and I don't really do water changes. Very minimal at the start just to get it in balance, and then you leave it. All I do is remove floating plants and top up the water every month or so. It's the absolute easiest type of aquarium to look after. And I've also just set up this bowl aquarium, which is also doing insanely well, not had a water change, all clear, and the shrimp are breeding and doing well inside. That said, let's get started on the platy aquarium. Now I don't want to rush this build, so whilst I'm breaking everything down, I'm just going to drain this water out, put it in a bucket, and then put the platy fish into there. They'll be absolutely fine for a day or so. I'll check the water regularly, obviously, and I'll top it up and change it if I need to, but we're not going to be that long, to be honest. It's only a small tank. So that's the water currently getting sorted. Now you might see there, look, we've got a canister filter and it comes up side, obviously, and then we've got an inlet and outlet. I'm not going with that this time. I'm not a massive fan of canister filters. They've got their place for big filtration with like big dirty fish like the discus, for instance. But in a small tank, I like to use a little internal filter. And just like over here in my albino cherry barb tank, you can see there at the back, we've got a little spray bar. And if you come around the side, there's a little internal filter, and I just think it works so well. I love it. It keeps working no matter what. If we have a power cut, it comes back on again, perfectly fine. I can easily clean it as well, which is what I really, really love. So the tank is now empty. All the fish are down here in the bucket. They're going to be absolutely fine. I'm going to move it out the way, over to the side, and then we can come back to that later. For now, we're just going to speed through, get everything out, and start again with a completely clean tank. Right, brilliant, we're all clean, that's the boring part done. Next up, I'm going to take out the filter. Oh, just so you guys know, this is a 2-foot tank by a 1-foot tank. I'll put all the details up on the screen. Low iron glass, it's just plain and simple, no frills, but it's like generic, but it's really nice, I like it. And for lighting, we've got the Platy 510. Nice little light, really low budget, doesn't cost a lot. It's like white LEDs with a couple of blues in there, and you can't dim it or anything like that, so if you do want to, you have to use electrical tape, a little bit of black electrical tape that can go across some of the LEDs. But I don't need to do that, I know that it works well. It's like one of them I find perfect for this setup. I'll leave links and things in the description if you guys are interested. I'm going to take out this filter now because I want to put an internal filter. They're just my favourite. I'll save all the stuff in that. It works well. It's just a cheap, like, All Pond Solutions one. It's been working for a long time, but I like the internal ones. Oh, and if you're wondering about this stand, this was homemade by me a long time ago now. It's not the prettiest of things, of course, but, you know, I've got little magnets on the front there. And when I put this on, you know, it sits all flush. Looks quite tidy, doesn't it? When you think, obviously, that's professionals. That's me. I mean, you can't usually see the wood going across, but yeah, it does the job nicely. What I will do though is take the media out of this filter and put it into our new internal filter, so we're cycled straight away. Now the filter hasn't arrived yet, it's arriving later today, so you'll see that at a later date, or sorry, later on in the video, not a date. Right, perfect, we are literally now ready to go. First thing, substrate system. Now I've got some that I've reused from the previous, let me show you. Yeah, so I've taken this out from the previous setup, look. There we go. And there's loads in there, so that means we're going to get off to a flying start because all of this has got beneficial bacteria still in it. If we get it in there quickly and get some water in, it's not sat around for too long, it'll all be like really good and ready to go straight away. I've got some stones in there as well, look, underneath, some gravel bits, but that won't matter once it's all in a bag. I like to put this all in a big bag and then a mesh bag. You guys, plenty of you have seen it now, but mesh bag that the roots can go into, but it keeps it all contained and doesn't then go all around the tank. That's just how I like to do it. And I find that with low-tech tanks, it also means that we don't get as much nuisance algae and that sort of thing, because all the nutrients are locked underneath the capped layer of sand or gravel or whatever you're going to use. And now I've got this all over my hands. Yeah, here they are, look, the mesh bags. Oh, this bag within a bag within bags. Hang on. Right, there we go. This is the extra large one, so I'll use a cup, well, 1.5 of these, but look, you can see through, so the roots get into them, but the holes are small. And also what's good is they've got plastic zips as well, so it won't rust or anything like that. Perfect. Now you'll notice here, look, I haven't completely filled the bags up because we need to be able to like manipulate them into the size or shape that we want when they're in the aquarium. There we go, look, see. So if you fill it halfway, it will lay down nice and flat and not go too high. We want some height to it, of course, but not massive amount. And then the same on the other side. There we go. So you don't have to cover every single area of the tank. Don't worry about that. The roots will find, you know, they'll find their way, and we can put some root tabs or something like that in the front as well. Because obviously that height, if we want to have like a shallow depth there, it's not going to work, is it? So I'll just do some crushed root tabs in that front foreground and the sand can sit on that. I mean, saying that, I'm not really planting in the foreground in this one, but you know, it's good to have it there just in case you want to do something in the future. Yeah, here we go. Look, I've got some root tabs. These are the API ones. Oh, I've only got one there. That's all right, I've got some more packs. But anyway, yeah, you take 1 or 2 or whatever, pestle and mortar, stick it in, and just grind it up until it's a powder. Oh, there's a bit of crushed food in there I did as well. Never mind. Good, good. Okay, sweet. Next up, I want to put in my hardscape. Just want to start with the wood first, and I want one big impactful piece right in the middle, like just a show-stopping piece. And I think I've got the right one. So right here, I've got a load of my hardscape. I've got a load of the chunky wood, which works quite well in like a tight space, I find. So we could either do that, or we could go for these sort of ones and make, I don't know, a double island, something. No, I think I want to go for something chunky. I'm looking at this piece thinking it looks awesome. 1, 2, 3, it's sort of like a stump at the bottom, and it might work well for a really good island composition. We'll see. I'll take all of these down and just, you know, pick one. Yeah, I think we got it with the wood there, look. So just 2 pieces, but they've both got that sort of angle going that way. It's quite dramatic, isn't it? I'm keeping it central. I need to shift it across a little bit though, and that's gonna look great. But then with this as well, I'm gonna put rocks around the base, just lift some little bits. I might need to lift this slightly, or both slightly actually, just to account for the rocks. It'd be nice to have a bit more coming out the top of the tank. It always looks cool when you've got like a tank with wood coming out the top. It adds like, I don't know, it makes it kind of extra 3D, do you know what I mean? No, you don't know what I mean, because I don't even know what I mean. So I'm really liking that composition so far, but look at all the gaps between the hardscape. Can you see that? If we come in to the side here, so you can see it all down there. We need to fill that in. If I just left it like that, put sand around it, and a little bit in the middle, but you know, a big cave in there, so much waste would settle, you just get disaster. I've done it before, it does not work well. So I've got down here some gravel that I've washed, coarser gravel. Gonna fill up those voids with this, and then I'll cap that on the top of a finer sand that we can plant into. Yeah, so the vacuum cleaner is quite good for getting stuff that you don't want to be seen. So that foreground I hoovered up then. And then I remembered that I put a load of fertiliser in the front. Don't do that. Just pick it up by hand. Never mind, I'll let it back down again, but yeah, it's all good. Next up, we need to put in our decorative sand now. I've got 2 grades actually. So down here is all of my sort of gravels and sands and things. So I'm going to use this one, but look, we've got a finer one and we've got the coarse one. Obviously the coarse one needs to stay near the rocks and hardscape. The finer one can come in right into the foreground. Yeah, it should look really good. I can't remember, I used this colour a long time ago. It does work really well and it's a little bit different, you know. Now, it's probably recommended that you actually wash these kind of gravels and that, but I can't be bothered. So I started with the coarser gravel, you can just see some of it there, and then I put the smaller gravel on top. I don't know why I did that, but I did. So now, on top of the small gravel, I'm going to put some of the coarser stuff, keeping it tighter to the rocks and hardscape, and it just looks really cool, like it's sort of graded that way. Apparently that's not how it is in nature, but it looks pretty, so we're going to go with that. Looking good. So yeah, the difference is subtle, but you know, it's worth the effort. And next up I need to glue all this wood down. Now I'm kind of sure it would sink anyway because it's really dense wood. I don't want to take any chances though, so I'm going to stick it to the rocks and stick it to itself using our old favourite, the cyanoacrylate super glue gel. This stuff's fish safe, plant safe, shrimp safe, snail safe. So we've got glue there, at the back, in the middle. We've got it everywhere. We've got about 5 points of contact, but you know, use quite a bit of glue. Now, within a couple of hours, I'm gonna go and have some lunch, but when I come back, it'll be workable. It won't be fully stuck for like 24 hours. So you can fill it up with water before then, and I have done before, but just make sure you're not gonna be knocking it about in that period. Just be careful, that's all I'm saying, and it's pretty much, you know, a couple of hours, you're all right. Like I say, go away, do something else. I'm gonna get some lunch now. Right, everything is now completely stuck in place. You know the tap test. Tap it 15 times. If it doesn't fall apart, we're good. Now that I'm looking at this though, I'm thinking I'm going to need to carry on using the canister filter instead of my preferred internal filter, purely because we've got a misted background on this one and not a black one. If I put a black internal filter at the side, it's just going to stick out like a sore thumb. That's what I'd ultimately like to do, but it's going to look way better if I just have those lily pipes, the steel ones at the back there, and it won't look so sort of ugly, I think, and noticeable. It will be noticeable, but it's kind of like a nice noticeable. So I think I'm going to stick with a filter for this one. It's all set up, it will work well. Anyway, now it's time for us to get on with the planting. First of all, I'm going to go with some mosses, all dotted around the wood. Now if you look at the wood, you can see that there's sort of shadows there, shadows there. We don't want moss on the shadows, we want moss on the light patches, as if it's being hit and grown by the sun sort of thing. So that's what I'm going to do. A nice big strip of moss up that one, a nice big bit up that one, maybe some in the foreground. Yeah, just dot it about where it seems appropriate. Now you've got 2 options here. You can just tie it to the wood and wrap it around with cotton thread. So that's what I've done over here. If you look at the wood, see there's cotton thread. It goes all the way along and looks really good. It is quite a bit of faff though, and I've also run out of cotton thread. So it's back to using the cyanoacrylate super glue gel. Don't worry, it doesn't harm the moss or anything. You just do tiny little dabs where you want it, like a big coverage but a tiny amount. Does that make sense? You'll see. And then the moss sticks really nicely. So it's now time to place in our first plants. This is going to get really exciting now. Right, so over in the in here, look, where we're actually keeping the platies. We've got a load of Anubias that I took from the last scape. It's all so healthy. We've got to use it again. This is Anubias Petite, which will work really well in this sort of smaller style scape. Look at that, beautiful. And to get it to sit in there correctly, either we can glue it to these rocks we can see here, or the wood, but I want some in the foreground area as well, just dotted in little patches. And to do that, we've got little rocks, like the same sort of style. I've smashed them up with a hammer so that they can be sort of disguised and, you know, camouflaged in with it all. And then what I'm going to do is use the glue again. So if you guys don't know by now, this stuff is used a lot. You need to get some if you haven't got any. Remember, it's super glue gel. You can get the non-gel type, it does work, but it kind of runs, so I just find the gel is the best because it stays put. Anyway, glue some of that Anubias to these rocks. We can put them in the scape and move them wherever we want to. So I've got all the crypts here ready to prepare. Now to get them into this state, all you need is a fork really, and just grab all the stems together, little squeeze, and then it comes away. Now this has got massive root systems because I've had them in my storage tanks for a good amount of time. Now just peel away the rock wool like that from the outsides, and you'll find that like the roots, look, are just sort of coated in it. But all you've got to do is take your fork, we'll do it so you can see, take your fork and run it all the way through like that, and work your way round nice and gently, and it all comes out. Now you only got to go that far, look, because the best bet now is to trim that bottom section or break it off, one or the other. There we go. And that's actually the best way to take the plant, and you can split it up if you want to as well, like that, because you're not breaking the nodes or anything. Is it nodes? I don't know. You're just splitting where the roots are. So if you want, you've got multiple plants. There you go. Okay, we're looking good. The crypts are in. I've tried to keep the edges clean and clear, just to emphasize that sort of island aquascape shape. Again, I'm trying to keep everything clear in the foreground as well, just so we got that like contrast. I think it'll all come together come the end, hopefully anyway. Next up, I'm going to go with our epiphyte plants, our ferns. I want a big focal point in the middle there, and I'm going to go for two types. I'm going to go for the trident and the windelov. Both those types of plants are quite sort of dainty in comparison to the massive Microsauranthropus, you know, the standard Java fern variety. If we put a big thick leaf Java fern in this, it will instantly just it won't look anything like as good. Can you imagine? We've got like our big chunky wood and then it's hidden by these massive leaves. So yeah, keep everything small scale on a smaller scape, apart from the hardscape of course. Oh, that looks so sweet, doesn't it? So it's added so much height to the aquascape already. We've got that gaping hole in the middle there. That's deliberate because that's where I want to put the trident. Look at the mess I've made it. The trident fern. Look at that. What a beautiful piece. Now, it didn't come from the shop or from Tropica like that. I received it much, much smaller, but I grow them out in my plant tanks, don't I? So for instance, down here, I've got a grow out tank, just a little shallow bit of water you can see there, some cling film or shrink wrap on the top with a light. It's a decent light as well, to be honest. But yeah, that's it. They just all keep growing and get bigger and bigger, and you get way more bang for your buck. Obviously it takes a bit of planning ahead, and there's quite a lot of plants there, so it's not cheap either, but I find this is the best way to do it if you want to make sure that you know, get in more for your money. They grow double the size within like a month or two, so yeah, all good. So that right there is basically everything I want to be able to see. Do you know what I mean? Like that's the aquascape. All that's left to do is at the back here. I've left a decent sized gap there for some stem plants. This, remember, is going to be an ecosystem aquarium, so we need some fast growing plants in there as well to help with nutrient absorption. This means that, you know, when we trim them and take the trimmings out, we're actually removing nitrates because they're using that to grow. So for that, I'm going to use what was in it before, and that is the pearlweed. I've used this many times before and I've run into troubles because I haven't trimmed it back. But the reason I'm going with it is it's going to be tucked in behind her. You're just going to see the sort of top part of it, and it'll be easy just to go snip, 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 and then take it out. Because I don't want too much of that background area. It's going to spoil everything, isn't it? You're going to lose that impactfulness if everything behind it is green. But at the moment, it looks great, doesn't it? So yeah, I've kept them down here, look, underneath this whilst I've been doing the build. We've got loads and I do not need that much, look. I mean, that's ridiculous. Oh, Liliopsis brasiliensis. I forgot actually that I put that there. I'll get that in some of the foreground areas as well, because that's a really nice plant. Doesn't grow crazy fast either. Right, so I'm going to use like maybe this piece, and what I'll do is put it inside a ceramic ring. That means that I don't actually have to plant it, and then if I want to later on, when everything's sort of settled in and grown in more, I can remove it. I probably won't do that, but you know, it's good to have the option, isn't it? Woohoo, planting done. Let's fill this bad boy up. Remember, nice and slowly, and because we've only got sort of gravel and a coarser sand here, it should, fingers crossed, not go misty at all. I mean, there will be obviously a little bit, but yeah, hopefully it looks good straight away. So there we are, we're filled up, we're looking good. Like I said, I'm going to add in the lily pipes again, connect it all back up, and then we're going to be good to go. Reason being is obviously there's a ton of beneficial bacteria still in that filter, which is like perfect for the amount of fish and everything like that, because it's what was on there before. So it's now the next day and the tank is looking so good, and I've actually ordered something that I think is going to be able to take it to the next level. I want to get some light in that background area, so I'm going to do a sort of DIY light screen sort of thing. Right, this is what I've got. I got it from Amazon, and it's got like the... Oh, something just fell out. Hope that's not important. No, it's not, don't worry. Yeah, so it's got colours, brightness. It's a tube with suction. It's supposed to go inside the tank, I think, but I'm going to put it behind the tank and let it like turn it so it lights upwards. Hopefully that gives us a cool effect. Okay then, now for the moment of truth. Was it a good spend or was it a waste of money? I've just pressed on. Oh, there we go. Okay, all right. It's not as bright as I thought it was going to be, but I think we can make it brighter. If I remember back a long time ago, Mike from Aquapros, he did something like this with an LED strip, and then he put paper behind it, like attached to the top, and then just draped over the light, and the whiteness of the paper reflected all the way up. So I'm going to give that a go and just see if that works.
Oh, there we go. I like it. I think it's great. Obviously, there's better options, more expensive options where the whole back is lit up. But, you know, for a nice cheap solution, I think that cost me like £25 or $30 or something. Not bad at all, is it really? It's going to give us a cool effect. Everything is done, ready to go. The last thing we need to do now is put our fish in. Let's do that.